Hello, my friends. Welcome back to ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. My name is Melanie with Melanie Smith Stamps, and today we have the Field Notes Collection by Spellbinders. This is the Field Notes Twine. It is this adorable little twine that goes across any of your projects. It makes the bow and the cross twine that will go across any of your flowers. Think wax seals, guys. Think wax seals. But that's a side note. But this die set is the tools that goes with field notes. And field notes are actually, I had to look them up on Instagram, but a field note notebook, which is that first twine that the twine looked like it was around the notebook, is actually a notebook that someone would take out into the field and like look for different types of samples of vegetation. So that's what all of these different things are. They would be taking notes and the samples of all of these vegetation items out in the fields. So I thought that was kind of neat. I didn't know anything about it, but I did a little research on it before I made projects because I wanted to learn a little bit more about it myself. So these BetterPress plates here are gorgeous. Look at the size of these babies. These can be done on 5x7s, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be making a 5x7 card with a silhouette design. Now this last but not least is a 3D embossing folder. This has all the little field notes on it. Look at those, all those samples. And that is something you don't want to forget about looking at as well. All of those items are in the shop, so make sure you check those out. And all those different links are down below for you. I am taking 3 colors of Distress Oxide inks and my blender brushes, and we're going to make a little background. We're going to mix these colors and make a 3-color background blend, and they're going to like kind of mix in between to give us 5 colors altogether. It's really pretty. And I thought this would be a really pretty idea because these 2 BetterPress plates are actually silhouettes. And I thought a nice silhouette onto a soft, subtle background would be really pretty. So we're starting off here with spun sugar. And like I said, all these will be down below if you don't already have them in your stash. Now, I cut out the cleaning of the desk there, so I just put a tip there to remind you to make sure you do clean your desk in between each of these ink colors so you don't mix them when you don't want to mix them. Of course, we are mixing them in areas where we want, but we don't want to accidentally mix them where we don't want them. So this is Squeezed Lemonade, the yellow, and I am wanting the pink and the yellow to go together a little bit there in the center to create a little kind of an orangey hue. So I am kind of working with the two together there and giving it a little bit of an orange. I had gotten a little too much, and I went ahead and wiped off my brush to get the yellow off of my brush, and I'm just making this a pure pink at the bottom there is what I was doing. I was getting like a little area that I had smudged. So I cleaned my desk off again, and now I'm coming in with the blue. And I really like these real big fluffy brushes because they spread the ink, especially Oxide inks, really nicely. They are also by Spellbinders, so if by any chance you don't already have them, I'll make sure they're linked below also. This is Speckled Egg here that we're coming in with now, and it is just a really soft shade, almost a blue-gray color, but it mixes really nicely. And I'm mixing it a tad bit with the yellow, and we get a little subtle green in there as well. So we just have some playful mixes here with the pink to orange to yellow to green to blue, a little kind of a pastel rainbow, not too much. But I did want to run over with my heat tool just a little bit because Oxide inks do have a pigment property to them. They're kind of a hybrid type of ink, but they do have a pigment property which comes off on your fingers. So I do, because they dry slower, I went ahead and heat dried them. Now I'm going to use my BetterPress. Like I said, I don't think I've used my BetterPress on a ScrapbookPal video before, but I absolutely love the BetterPress. It is one of my favorite tools in my craft room. I craft with it all the time, almost every day. Almost all my projects have something BetterPress on them, or at least that's what I'm known for. So I'm using this here in my project, and I like to use Best Ever Craft Tape when I'm doing a background like this and secure it completely on the back of my plate so that it's smooth and straight and flat. I don't want to accidentally ink my corners, which in this case today I'm not, but a lot of times, we might have an all over plate. So I just thought I'd share that with you if you're doing like a background plate. I thought I would share that little tip with you today. Now, because this is 5x7, you notice how tall that is. I am looking at the taller registration marks on my BetterPress. So the A7 marks. I'm not looking at the A2 marks because you notice the size of this plate. We want to make sure we're thinking of that. Now, I'm going to put this twine on top of the floral, and I have to envision where this twine is going to fall. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm seeing how far the twine pieces are going to fall and where the bow is going to fall. And now we're going to ink it with BetterPress black ink. I want an actual real silhouette look. So I'm being very careful. I'm taking my time. I want a solid silhouette. When you're pressing or when you're inking, when you're inking your BetterPress plates, take your time. You want to make sure your coverage on the plates is really good. And you just, want to make sure that you're hitting all of the top areas. And that's what I was doing here. I was going back and hitting those big solids one last time. And then we will go ahead and make sure our image or our sentiment is straight, and we will put it through the Platinum 6 machine. Now here is the beauty. Here it is. Isn't it pretty? I just love the way it turned out. I'm going to be putting a black layer and a green layer behind it, but now because of this twine, it was created for a A2 size card, and we're being rebels. We're making an A7. So we are making a 5x7 card, and I'm going to show you here how to stretch your supplies. You always can do it, guys. If it's made for one size, just make it work for another. So that's what I'm doing here. I am trimming the little glue tab off one side. I used the Best Ever Craft Tape to hold it on the back with the first piece. Now I'm going to glue it down to hold this piece in place. And then, see, I'm gluing just that center section down there on the flower so I know exactly where I want it to stay. Then I'm going to glue this piece here to match up with this twine on the side. Now this area is not going to be covered up by anything. The bow little ties might, overlap it a little bit, but so I want to just take my time here, and I'm going to line these pieces of twine up one by one, and that way nobody can really tell that it wasn't continued and made to do that. Nobody's going to know. This is your piece of art, your creation, and no one's going to ever know that you made it work. This wasn't intended to be like this, Just create it and make it your own, because that's the whole point of art, is to create and do your thing. So anytime you have something that is made for one size, just work with it and envision it the way you want it, and then make it work for you. So I'm just straightening it just a tad, and then I'm going to glue this other side down to meet the ones I just glued. And I did it that way just to make sure I had a second chance to line it up. And it worked perfectly. I turned it over, taped the other side down. You could glue it if you wanted to. The tape's just quicker. No one's going to see the back. And then I'm going to just glue these. On the actual die cut, they only glued one. They only cut one set of these pieces, but I went ahead and did two just to make it a fuller bow, because my card itself is completely flat. There's no dimension to my card. It's just inked and pressed. So I thought this is going to be the dimension of my card. So I wanted to go ahead and give it a little more oomph. So I die cut two of each of the pieces of the bow. And now I'm just assembling each of those doubles. And each of these pieces has a little glue area on it to make it super simple, except for the little knot, which is right here. In that little knot, I just pull in my little jewel picker and hook it together, and then we assemble. And we just sit that there and glue each of the pieces right on top of each other, starting with the back, and I just work my way up. I do the little tassels first, and those little circles just stack right on top of each other. Could not be easier. These bow pieces also have that little circle, so it's just layering the circles up, which gives it lots of dimension as it builds. Now this piece here, I had a little extra glue on it, so I just wiped that off onto the center that we're going to put on. And at first I put the bow, both of them up, and then I thought, I saw the package and I saw, you can see it there off to the left.